Getting my spring perches all tacked together. They're welded together themselves, but they're not tacked to the axle yet. I've got this sweet fixture table I built at home, but I don't have 220 in the garage yet, so I'm getting these square just by putting them on 1, 2, 3 blocks and using a piece of rectangular tubing. Just leaf springs, so if they're not perfect, it doesn't really matter, but they're going to be close enough. The laser is awesome, laser cutter, because you can get this awesome fitment right out of the box based off the scan. These are U-bolt eliminators, so this will be the bottom side of the axle, nothing hanging down. Not that a U-bolt really ever hung anybody up too bad, but it's kind of hard to use U-bolts on these Toyota axles with a Samurai spring center because the housing is in the way here. This one's a little bit better, but it would still kind of be in the way, so I did these. The main plate here is 1/4. These are 3/8. I've added these windows in them for possibly helping strap it down to a trailer. I couldn't really get any windows in the front side here where I needed them because the pieces are too small, but it'll be handy having them on the other side at least. But I'm going to tack this together for now and then test fit it and make sure I've got my caster angle here where I want it and my pinion angle. Kind of at the mercy of Trail Gear here, because they build the housing and they set the pinion and the caster wherever they want it, so they move together. But still going to be a good axle housing, I think. Here's the top side of the housing with those spring perches welded on. You can see some of the detail here in the design work. Since I scanned the housing, I could design these right off the bat, and they fit perfect first try. They're just tacked on with 4 heavy tacks each now, so I can bolt it up and make sure I got the spring center to center spacing right. I believe it's 720 millimeters. I measured around 28 1/4 to 28 3/8 and found some drawings of the frame, and it says 720 millimeters, so that's what I went with. I'll find out if that's right or wrong pretty quick when I bolt it up. But thanks Zach for letting me use his shop while he's out of town at the Daytona 24. RIP 348. You're a great race car. And we're building a new one right now. Well, it's a new day, and I went ahead and got the axle mocked up, and everything fits like it should. I got the spring center correct. I kind of wish, you can see here, that's how much caster correction I've put into this, because the front of the springs are a little bit higher than the rear, so they're angled up. So I put a few degrees into it. You can kind of see the caster angle here between the 2 trunnions. I kind of wish I'd done a little bit more, but it was just a guess. If I run a low pinion, the drive shaft's really going to hang low, and I'm going to beat it to death on rocks because I'm hard on stuff like that. So I'm probably going to end up throwing the high pinion in this. I'll put some 529s in it, and it's still going to hang low in the leaf springs, unfortunately. But I wanted to talk about another thing about this axle that it's kind of advertised as a good thing, but I don't really like it. This big chunk here, I know this part's in the shade, so it's hard to see, but it's offset, so the tubes are actually raised up, and the axle shaft doesn't run in the center line of the tubes. Maybe you can see it better from this side. Yeah, this guy. So the axle shaft doesn't run in the center line of the tubes. The axle's in the center of the ball knuckle here, and then it's in the bottom of the tube, so it raises the tube up like 3/8 of an inch on the bottom for more ground clearance, which is great, except it moves all this stuff up too. So you really gain that in ride height, which sucks, because as it looks now with these springs, unless I put some different springs in it, looks like it's going to be pretty tall, which is not what I want. I want a good low center of gravity for stability. But I'm just going to have to see how tall it is and maybe take a leaf out or put some different springs in it. But as of now, I'm just going to weld it up the way it is and try it out. So here's a little time lapse of laser scanning the rear axle housing. You can see I've got the third member in also, but it's kind of boring to watch, so I've just got a little time lapse. But this is a Handy Scan Black Elite by Creaform. It's a
very expensive scanner. It's not something that you would own unless you have a business. This is my work scanner, so it's not my personal one, but I use it all the time. Scanning this rear housing, I just kind of want to have it as a reference. I've got to design the cable actuated e-locker, so I'm getting rid of the e-locker part, and it'll just be a manual cable actuated locker. And I'm doing a diff cover too that will kind of double as a truss, stiffen up the axle a little bit and give it a little more protection from when I smash it into rocks, keep it out of the ring gear. The little dots on the part you see, those are the targets that the scanner needs to see. It can locate itself by triangulating those dots. And on the laptop in the background, you can kind of see I've joined two scans together. I've scanned one side, then I flipped it over and I scanned the other side. And I'm joining them together to make one mesh that I can then use to model anything off of. Added some dots to get a little more of that tube. It's hard to get round tubes because you can't get the dots far enough apart to get a good triangulation for the accuracy of this scanner. You can scan with tons of different scanners, obviously white light, but laser is kind of the most accurate for this kind of stuff. This is a nice handheld scan that's portable too. But right now I'm merging the two scans together to create one mesh, and it'll take the overlapping data and put them together. And then next we'll move into what you actually do with the scan data and how you use it. So here is the mesh, which is in green, obviously. It's just kind of a visual thing. You can't really do anything with it in SolidWorks, which is what I'm using. But I've got the other solid parts added in. You can see I'm about to turn off one. This diff cover I'm doing is going to kind of shave. It's going to be a shave kit too for the axle. I'm going to gain, I don't know, ½ an inch or so. Not a ton of clearance, but you can see there on the bottom. The diff cover and the bottom piece of the shave will all be one piece. The cover itself is going to be, let's see, yeah, 3/16. And I'm going to make it translucent here so you can see through it. You can kind of see the ring gear clearance I left. Oh, I don't know. I'm just going to guess. I left like 3/8 of an inch all the way around the ring gear. And that's just kind of a happy medium for, you know, if it gets smashed into a rock or the housing flexes or something. You can also see two little gussets inside that will weld to the housing first. And then when the cover's on, it's got two little tabs. You weld those tabs up to seal it up, and then with the third member out of the axle, I can weld those in the rest of the way on the inside to the cover itself. Had to run to NOLA for the weekend for World Racing League's first endurance race of the year, so here's some race car noises for you to enjoy. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned and subscribe if you want to see some more. Should have some more progress very soon.